Okay, David.
Yes.
First of all, why Stradivari? Why not Giuseppe Guarneri? Because Niccolò Paganini used Guarneri.
1742, the Il Canon, yeah, I know. But it's in Genoa, in the museum, because he donated it after his death to the local museum of the city he was born. Why not Guarneri? Actually, we used a Guarneri copy of the Canon in this movie, which visually reflects what Paganini played on. So I did not play Stradivarius.
And I know that the sound of Guarneri and Stradivarius is a little bit different.
Of course, there is a huge difference. I don't necessarily think if I would play in front of an uneducated ear that you would hear exactly what it is, but it's a little rougher, and to be quite honest, sometimes also stronger through the orchestra when you play solo works. Especially the lower strings are a little bit more sonore.
May I ask you, music?
Yeah. By the way, if anybody has a Guarneri del Gesù, I'm more than happy to try one, and you know, I'm still looking for one.
Music.
Yes.
What music means to David Garrett? Fate, simple life, or kind of disease?
No. I think music means everything, and it depends what you. It's interpretation. Great music changes, and as an interpreter, what I have are the emotions I have in this second or in this moment when I play music, and they can vary, and that's very, very important, because otherwise music is stagnant and music needs to be alive. So music can mean everything and something different each time.
When I read about you, about your childhood, the thing that interested me, the other boys plays football, but David Garrett kept his fingers.
Well, in the end, I did not do too many sports when I was younger, but I did play football as well. So, in the end, it's I did practice more than I played football. Obviously, otherwise I probably would be not playing the violin.
But you cannot be a goalkeeper. Because
no. That's I think that might have really been a problem. And my parents were very careful with me. There were a lot of things I wasn't allowed to do, which I guess after this working out, it was a good thing not to do them.
Can you say a few words about Russian music and violinist traditions?
Oh, yes.
David Oyster.
Of course, there's a huge tradition. All my favorite violinists are from the Leopold Auer school. Jascha Heifetz, Emil Stein, Misha Illmann. I mean, then of course David Oyster. There's a huge tradition in violin playing coming from Russia. My teacher even is from Novosibirsk, Zacha Bron, who I worked with for many years in Lübeck. So, huge Russian tradition. And
Russian composers?
Well, obviously the two probably most well known is Tchaikovsky and Rachmaninoff, and Rimsky-Korsakov, Prokofiev, Shostakovich, and so on. I mean, there are Mussorgsky, and there's a really huge tradition also in classical music with Russian composers. Yeah.
David, Paganini.
Yes.
Do you believe that he sold his soul to devil?
He worked. The thing is, selling the soul to the devil can be more a synonym for, sacrificing a hell of a lot in your life. It's not necessarily that you have to do this. It's a metaphor for sacrificing more than others and still achieving something incredible, but with the loss of a lot of other things, which maybe other people also enjoy. I mean, life is not only about a career or only about music, but if you go that far that you only make it about career and music, I think you might, metaphorically speaking, sell your soul to the devil.
But if there is God, there should be devil. And
Yes.
what's the secret of Paganini? He was genius,
Yes.
or he just used alto strings on the violin?
Yeah.
Or did it help?
No. I mean, basically, history has shown that certain people are just beyond their time. I mean, if you look at Da Vinci or if you look at Van Gogh, there are certain people which, for some reason, do something which still has relevance 200-300 years after, and Paganini really, until today, is the technical height of violin playing. We cannot do anything more difficult than what he invented, and it's hard enough playing his pieces. I cannot imagine writing them. I mean, why the hell would you do that to yourself?
But why his destiny was so tragic?
It was a difficult time, and also health-wise. He was not the strongest, and then he caught many diseases, which then on the other hand led to taking medicine which you would not give today, but medicine which made other things worse and didn't really treat the actual disease. And then he suffered a very unhealthy life. In the end, he lost all his teeth. He got addicted to drugs. Not because he liked taking them, but they were prescribed. It's like having a prescription drug problem these days, which I think many people do have. So it's quite a relevant kind of story.
But what do you think? Where is he now? In the hell or in the paradise?
I think I cannot answer this question. I don't know. I think he's here because he has been such an icon for so many violinists over the last 200 years that I think the most amazing thing is if you create something and beyond your death it still has value. So I guess he's still here.
So can you say that Paganini is your now spiritual leader or
no.
teacher?
It is something which is inevitable to play when you consider yourself a good violinist. Not because it's the highest grade of musicianship, but it leads to being able to play the greatest music without thinking about it. It gives you the freedom to let go on stage if you can play Paganini. It's what makes a great violinist become great with great music.
How was it to transform from the musician into the dramatic actor?
It was quite easy because the thing is, all we have from Paganini are a few stories, a lot of myths, and the violin parts, the music. So for me, yes, I read a lot about him, but all my life. But I concentrated again reading the facts and trying to figure out who he was. But in the end, I found more in his music, how he wrote, what he invented, to be the most interesting and the most relevant thing about finding out what kind of character was. He was extremely obsessed with practicing, even though people say he didn't practice. There is probably also something he established, because it's more of a sensation when you say, oh, I don't practice, and then play like this. He must have practiced a hell of a lot.
It's interesting. I've seen some of your concerts, and I noticed that when you play, you always start with the right foot on the floor. What does it mean?
What does it mean? It means I am into the work, because sometimes it's. Of course, tradition is, you see what means tradition. Like, they teach you not to move your feet, and I remember even when I was playing for Dorothy Delay, she was like, I was doing like this, and he was like, stop it. But then in the end, there's so much energy going through your body, and it's not only what is up here, but you feel the tension of the music sometimes, and then I just have to let it out somewhere.
How much time take you to rehearse or to practice every day?
I do a minimum of 2 hours, but to be quite honest, it doesn't also make sense to practice when you're tired, because even worse than not practicing is practicing badly. So, for instance, yesterday it was a very, very long day for me. I arrived here quite late. Then we went for a walk, and I wanted to practice yesterday, and I was like, I'm too tired. If my brain doesn't work, it's a waste of time to play. So yesterday I didn't do anything. This morning I woke up and I worked a little bit, and also in between here when I have breaks I try to practice a little bit. So 2 hours is a good amount of work which you have to do.
David, how do you relax?
By sitting on the couch sometimes. I don't know, I like going for walks. I think any impressions of life, especially since as a musician you spend a lot of time rehearsing and being in the inside, I love nature, so going outside.
You have called these times as part of MTV generation.
Yes.
What specially does it mean?
It means that if you have a passion and you have a great product, you go out and sell it. There's nothing wrong in selling something which is great. I only find it stupid to sell something which is not great. You know, if you have a great product, there's nothing. It's good to package it right and be proud of it. And I think classical music or whatever I play, I know is very, very good and on a very high standard. I've worked all my life to present it and be as good as I am. So I find it only natural that you go out and reach out to young audiences. It's very important. Otherwise, you can have the greatest product if you don't talk about it and are not passionate about it and try to convey it to a new audience. Nobody will listen. So it's fine to promote a great product. And I'm not talking about myself, I'm talking about great music.
But how hard is to mix classical music with electronic without making sound?
Oh, very, very hard. Very, very hard. I think you have to find your own sound, of course. You know, and I've worked many, many years, and I also studied composition at Juilliard for 4 years. So it really is a certain sound I was always looking for when you do crossover pieces, and every piece needs to be done differently. But there are certain tricks how you can, you know, just having a band with a violin or classical violin will never work. It's just too much of a difference in sound. So that's why I always like to integrate an orchestra, especially the brass sections, because through the brass sections you get somehow that glue between strings and a band, between classical and electronic.
And Russian great writer Dostoevsky said,
Schuld und Sühne, what is it in?
Beauty can save the world. Do you believe in it?
Well, beauty can do a lot of things. Not only save the world, I think it can also destroy the world.
Wow. You really think?
Oh yes.
That is possible?
Of course it can. I've met many people I thought were extremely beautiful and had a bad character.
The last thing, David, my show is called Cinemania.
Yes.
Let's go straight to the camera. Hello.
Cinemania.
Yep. Hello, Cinemania.
Yes, no, I know what to do.
Okay.
Hey everybody, this is David Garrett here, and you're watching Cinemania. I hope you enjoy the show.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Hold hands. The rest is in the movie.